guys, how's it going? So I got a great song for you today. We're going to do Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol. So I haven't heard this song in like 15 years, and I was noodling around in front of the television the other night, and I came across the riff, and I found it, and I started playing it. And I thought, you know what, that'd be the perfect song to build a loop with. Work on timing, work on touch, work on triads, find the vocal melody, work on your alternate picking, work on your finger picking. It's just kind of the perfect candidate for all that stuff. So we're going to layer and loop 6 different guitar parts, try to make it sound like the recording. I'm going by memory. I haven't listened back to the song. Probably haven't heard this since like 2010 or so. I'm pretty sure it's correct. It sounds correct to me, but if I miss a note here or there, you know, don't hold it against me. I'm just going by how I remember it in my head. But we'll lay down all the guitar parts, and then I'll show you how you can play the vocal melody. We're going to be using triads for the entire vocal melody, and really all this stuff is just, the timing is so crucial with this, right? So I mean, if you just do one part and it's out, it's going to throw kind of the whole loop out. And then the touch part really comes in when we're finger picking, especially working on the lower strings like the E, A, and D strings. You really have to be careful not to pop one string too hard, especially if like your nails are uneven or something, or you just kind of attack one finger too much. It's really great to work on these types of things and just kind of get into the minutia of time and touch. But that's everything, so let's go ahead and get into the opening riff. Alright, so for the opening riff, it's a pretty famous riff now. I'm sure as soon as you hear it, everybody knows what song's about to be played. So there's a couple different ways you can do this, right? Kind of depends on your dexterity and comfort level, however you want to grip this. So we're basically going to be playing out of an E sus2 chord, right? And then we'll walk down to this major third and add that into G sharp. But you can hold down this shape the whole time and keep your ring finger down on 9th fret on the A string and just move your index finger back. Or you can choose to just use like your pinky and index finger and then put your ring finger on later. I experimented with this. I did it both ways. I think there's less margin for error if you just hold down the shape. Sometimes when you move from, you can get like an overtone or some kind of unwanted string noise can happen. So I just prefer to hold down the whole shape, but if you feel uncomfortable stretching like that with your index finger, it's okay, just play it however you want, right? So we just start out, it's really staccato, right? Now I count this, I don't count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, I just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And what I'm paying attention to is the lower string. I'm really paying attention to that boom, 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 right? So I'm paying attention to the down hit and not so much the upstroke when I'm thinking about my timing, right? So we'll have 7 on D, 9 on G. I like to use index and pinky. Okay, it starts out however much it plays it. That's just all you're going to play over and over. You can figure out how many times if you want to play along to the song or if you're just going to build the loop. So after 7, 9, then we're going to walk down with your index finger down to 6 and 9. Okay, so like I said, I like to keep my ring finger down on 9th fret on A, then have 7 on D and 9 on G, and then just move my index finger back to 6 on D, and then we'll play 6 on D to 9 on G. It's 1, 2, we're doing 8 beats for each one, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 8 beats for each one. Okay, and then after you go 6 on D, go from 9 on A to 9 on G back and forth, right? 8 beats. And then what I like to do, I like to hit the open A and hit the 7th fret on the D string and let those ring out together, right? And just have that octave of 2 A notes droning out. And then go back. Okay, and then it turns around. So that'll be your whole opening riff, right? Like I said, really pay attention to the bass note, that lower note, right? That you can hear it swing. You can hear it in the loop. When you start stacking stuff on the loop, boom, 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 you really want to make sure that's in time. So the beats per minute, the tempo is 104. So put on a metronome, put on a hi-hat. I just did a hi-hat and a tambourine, just trying to mimic what kind of happens at the beginning of the song before it kind of gets heavier. But that's it, right? So I think that's it. They may use a ride cymbal. I can't remember. I just thought hi-hat and the tambourine sounded good, but it could be a ride, whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as something's keeping you honest and in time, use that. So that'll be your whole opening riff, right? So however you want to grip it, experiment, whatever you feel comfortable. If you want to not hold that down. However you want to play it, it doesn't really matter. It's still going to sound good either way. Just whatever, you know, whatever you find to be the most accurate when you're playing it, use that method. But that's the whole guitar intro part. Let's go ahead and get into the opening verse. Alright, so before we get into the verse and the vocal melody, let's build this entire loop so we have a good foundation to play over. So we're going to start out, we're going to layer 6 different guitar parts, and we're going to start out with that opening riff that we just went over, right? So go ahead and lay that down at 104 beats a minute. So after you have that laid down, then the next thing I did is we're going to walk down like the triads, right on the 1 of each beat. We're just going to go from A major to a G sharp minor to an F sharp minor to an A sus2. Okay, so I'm going to have my thumb on 5 on the low E, then have 7 on A and D, 6 on G, pluck those 4 together. Right, so this is kind of where the touch comes in. Like sometimes I tend to hit like the G string or just one string out of like a 4-chord, like a 4-note chord or a triad. Sometimes I'll hit just one note, you know, and I hate it, but I'm really trying to get better at that. So this is a great thing to work on. So we're gonna have like a 5, 7, 7, 6. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'm gonna keep my pinky on the D string the entire time, and I'll just walk it down. And then I'm just going to leave out, we're going to go to G sharp over E, but I'm going to leave out the E note, right? So I'm really just going to play the root and the minor third of this G here. So we'll have 4 on the low E with the thumb, 6 on D, 4 on the G string. And the reason I'm leaving out 5 on the B is because I want to introduce that note when I start to play the vocal melody. I want that to be the first time that note is heard, is when I start doing the vocal melody, because it kind of clashes or it kind of gives it away when you just, it doesn't sound bad, but I just prefer to leave it out, whatever you want to do, right? So 4, 6, 4, then we're going to go down to this F sharp, have 2 on the low E, 4 on A and D, 2 on G. Okay, then your A sus2, open A, 2 on D and G, open B. Alright, so you just walk those down. I really try to get those on the 1 whenever you have a metronome or a drum beat going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So really work on your timing, try to get that in time, right? So after that, where do we go? The next thing we'll do is we'll do these little, we're going to do this kind of like, I don't know, I call it like a 38 special type of thing. Another thing I do is every time I play a different part, I change the pickup selector, I change the volume, and I change which side of the pick I use to give it a different attack. Because if you use everything with the same volume, the same pickup selection, everything, it just sounds like a big muddy mess, and it doesn't really, there's no distinction between the parts. So I just change it. So for the opening part, I'll keep it in the neck pickup, and then when I do the all the chords, I'll do that in the neck pickup too. That's kind of an exception there. But then when we do this little chugging here, I'll go to the middle position, right? That's another thing I'm trying to get better at, is not sliding around on the strings. Kind of lifting up as I go. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to go 5 and 7 on E and A. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, all 16th notes, right? I just count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't do that 1 E and a 2 E and or anything like that. For me, I feel more comfortable just going boom, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So however you want to count it to keep you in time. So 5, 7, E and A. 16 beats of each one of these. If you miss one beat, if you just go like, can't even do it, right? If you just miss one, it's gonna sound messed up, right? So make sure you get all 16, you get them clean, right? So then we're just gonna move our index finger back a fret and go 4 and 7 on E and A. Okay, then we're gonna walk down, do our little F sharp, have 2 on E, 4 on A. Okay, then we walk back up to A, we'll have 5 on E and 7 on A. Okay, so that'll be your whole, that second part, right? Okay, so there's 3 parts. Like I said, man, adjust the volume down. I kind of adjust it. I go from being at 10 and I'll go between like 7 and 8 for all the other parts, right? And so that's 3, right? So we have we got the intro, we have the chords, we have the little chug, and then from here I'll turn the volume way down to like 7. And what we're going to do is we're going to work on the B and E string, right? And we're basically doing these triads, but we're just going to leave out the 5, right? So we're just going to be going basically like A major, G sharp minor, F sharp minor, back to A. But we're just going to leave out the 5, leave out the G string, and just play the B and E. So we'll have 10 on the A string, 9 on the high E string. Same thing, 16, right? Yeah, 16. And then we'll walk down to 9 and 7 B and E. Okay, then we take the same shape down 2 frets to 7 and 5 B and E. And then we go down 2 frets, we'll just have B and E on 5. I like to use, you can bar it, I like to use my ring and pinky, just because from here we're going to go back to this same shape and we're going to pick them. I just find it easier to get there instead of barring, but however you want to play it, right? So okay, see, I just missed one. You gotta boom, 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 boom. You gotta stay on it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so after that, we're gonna go back. We're gonna play the same shape. We're just gonna pick E to B. We're just gonna go up, down, up, down. Right, so we're kind of playing off of the, right, and just adding some more color to that. Playing different notes, so it sounds pretty cool when they're layered on top of each other. So 10, 9, B and E, same thing, right? I just upstroke on the E, downstroke on the B. Then go down to 7 and 9, same thing. Then go down to 5, 7, same thing. Then 5, B and E. Okay, so after that, I'm in the middle position for that. Then I'll go into position 2, and I'll put the volume up like another notch to like 8, and then we'll add in these octaves. Now for this, instead of changing the side of the pick I I'm going to use like my nails, and I'm just kind of do this kind of like brushing kind of technique thing. Right, so it sounds cool. It kind of gives you like another texture. It gives you more of like kind of adds more of a beat also, and it just sounds cool, right? So we're basically just walking down these octaves from A to where are we going? Like A to G sharp to F sharp, right? Just walking down that and just following that, and then back to A. So we'll have a 7 on D and 10 on the B string. You're going to want to mute out the E and A with your middle finger, and then mute out the G string with your index finger, mute out the high E string with your pinky, right? And just use your nails, kind of crimp your fingers together. Alright, and then 16 of those, then walk down a half step, and we'll have 6 on D and 9 on B. Okay, then we'll go down 2 frets, and we'll have 4 on D and 7 on B. Do your F sharp. Then walk back up to your A on 7 and 10, D and B. Okay, so those are all your parts that you're layered, and you'll know right away if you're in time or not, right? So this keeps you very honest. So if you can keep everything on the beat, everything will work in unison on top of each other, and everything will support, each part will support the one before it, and it'll add more texture and layer everything in a way that sounds really pretty. And you'll start to hear this boom, 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 boom. You'll hear the root note of each chord, but you kind of hear this swing of like boom, bum, boom, bum, boom, bum, boom, bum. But you'll really pay attention to that bass, and that's how you'll know if you're on the beat, right? And so that's the whole loop that we'll lay down, and 104 beats a minute, like I said. Work on that, work on getting that timing down, work on kicking the loop on and off. Another great way to know if you're in time, if you can get the loop going. And that's the whole foundation that we're going to play over. So now let's go ahead and get into the verse and the vocal melody with all the triads. Alright, so for the vocal melody part, everything we do is going to be triads, right? There'll be like a couple like little double stop things here and there, but it's mainly all triads that we're going to be working out of. And we're going to be playing most of this all on the E, A, and D strings, except for when we get into the chorus. So for the verse part, we start out, we do it all, everything on our own, right? So we have Alright, so we'll start out with this A major triad, right? I'm going to hit the low E first on 12, have 12 on E and A, and then have 11 on the D string. Alright, just same thing as this, right? So we're going to hit the low E first as will, and then that'll be your do. Then we're going to go down here to 7 on E and A and 6 on D and play your E major triad. Then we're going to put our pinky down on 7 on D, so we'll have A and D. And we're just going to play the root and fifth like a power chord, right? I leave out the root note on 5. You could just go, but this note ringing out as it goes down to G sharp, it kind of clashes a little bit, so I just thought it sounded better if I left it out. You just played 2 notes instead of the whole power chord. So you have your A to E to your A5, right? And just try to hit those evenly, as even as you can with your nails, right? Okay, and then from here, we're just going to put our middle finger down on 6 on G. So you have 7, 7, 6, A, D, and G. We have that A major triad here. Then walk that same shape down with your ring, pinky, and middle finger. Go 7, 7, 6, E, A, and D, back to that E major. Then we're going to take that same shape, we're going to slide it down after we hit it into that D triad. So you'll have 5, 5, 4, E, A, and D. So you have then on our own. Now I come back up to 12. I do this for the tonality of the melody. You can use whatever chords you want. You can stay here. But I just thought it sounded better and sounded more like the way he's singing it if we walk back up here again. So like I said, choose whatever triads you want, but I think this kind of sounded the best. So yeah, go back to your A on 12, 12, 11, then back to your E, 7, 7, 6, and then your A5. And then after that, I will hit the bass. After I pluck 7 on A and D, I'll hit 5 on the low E with my thumb. So you have, for the first opening line, okay, so that'll be your opening line. So these triads we're using here, they'll be the same throughout the entire song. I don't know how many verses there are. There's at least 3. There might be 4, but they're all going to be the same. You're just going to phrase it a little bit differently. Okay, so everything we go over here, I'm not going to go verse by verse like how I phrased it during the loop. Just listen to it, and it'll be the same thing. And just instead of him going like, he may just pluck it. And some of these we slide into, right? So that's your opening part. So that's one thing I do. I probably forgot to mention that. You're going to slide in from a half step back. So we just slide in 6 on A and D up to 7 on A and D. And then pluck that low E string, okay? Second line, we don't need anything or anyone. Same thing, right? Okay, we'll go start out the same. We'll have A to E to A5. Okay, here's what we'll change a little bit. We're going to go from this A, 7, 7, 6, then to your E, 7, 7, 6, E, A, D. Instead of going here. Okay, similar notes but a little different, right? So here we're going to be basically going from a G sharp minor to an F sharp minor, right? We're just going to leave out one note here. So we have 11 on E and A, and then we have 9 on D. And we're going to slide that same shape back 2 frets to 9, 9, 7 E, A, D. Okay, and then I'm going to walk back to 12. And then we have your A, and 7, 7, 6 for E. And then you can slide in from 6 to 7 on E and A, and play your 5, right? So, your second part, now before we get into the chorus, the last time, after I slide in 6 to 7 on E and A and I hit the low E, I'll give it a full bar and then I'll pop the high E string. I just thought it sounded cool. I think they may do something like that in the song. I can't really remember if there's like a harmonic or a keyboard part or something. I don't know. Okay, so that's going to be your whole verse. So every time you play it, those are all the chords you need, right? So those will be everything you need for each verse. You're just going to phrase it a little bit differently based on how he says each word, right? Sometimes you have to go, sometimes you just hit it straight. Just listen to the song if you want to get it, and you can play it as accurately as you want. So those are the verse triads. Let's go ahead and get into the chorus triads now. Alright, so for the chorus part, we get into it after we have the end of the verse. We pop that high E, if I lay here, if I just lay here. I'm going to slide in. I just kind of do a ghost slide. I don't have a specific fret that I slide from. We're going to slide into this A major triad, 7 on A and D, 6 on G. And we're going to pop it 3 times. You don't want it to ring out, like you want to make it real staccato, kind of take the pressure on and off the strings. from here, we're going to play another A major triad, right? We're just moving. You may wonder, like, why don't you just hold this down? Like, and go. You could, the tonality is different, right? It's like little things. Like, have you ever noticed, like, if you get a Hershey chocolate bar that's like normal size, and you get like a snack size and then a miniature size or a giant size, they all taste a little bit different. And I think it's the same way with guitar playing. Like, depending on what fingers you use on which note, kind of gives it a different tonality. I think because of the strength in each one of your fingers is a little bit different. And I just like to change chords because it makes me less likely to make a mistake or hit something wrong by changing. So I know that I'm going to something different, but play it however you want. You could just hold it down however you want to play it, right? So after you slide in to 7-7-6, then we go thumb on 5 on the low E, 7 on D, 6 on G, 5 on B. Okay, then we'll slide back into that A major triad, 7-7-6. Okay, if I just lay here, then we're going to go to this E over G sharp. We'll have your thumb on 4. We'll have 6 on D, 4 on G, 5 on B. Then we're going to hammer on with our pinky from 4 to 6 on the G string. And then go back and just hit the E over G sharp, right? Okay, then Would You Lie With Me? We're going to hit it once. Put your pinky down on 6, hit that twice. Okay, and then With Me. Okay, this is a cool part. I was kind of tickled when I found this. So all we're doing really, if you're not used to doing this, I guess it could be a little tricky, right? We're going to play an F sharp minor, thumb on 2, mute out the A, we'll have D on 4, and then bar, G and B on 2. Okay, then we're going to lift that finger up with your index finger, and we're going to hit 2 on the low E, 4 on D, 2 on G, and the open B string. Would you lie? This is With Me. Would you, was it? So this is With Me and, right? So after you hit this 2-4-2 open B, right? Then you have to roll your index finger over and mute out the open B. And then we're just going to pick 2 on the low E, 4 on D, 2 on G. Okay, so you have... Right, it's easy to pop that and hit that too hard, right? I probably did that a couple times in that loop intro, right? So you gotta, again, working on touch here, right? Trying to practice that. So after you mute out that B, okay. So after you do this F sharp, then we're going to go to D over F sharp and put my thumb on 2, my middle finger 2 on G, ring finger 3 on B. Fingering like this is important to play it this way, right? We're going to hit it twice. Then we're going to go down, just basically take your ring finger from 3 to 2 on B. Still playing like an F sharp minor, right? Hit it once. Then we're going to hit the open E, and we're going to play 2 on D and 1 on G, outlining E major. Then we're going to hit the open A. We're going to go 2 and D and G on the first fret, right? That's my dog, sorry. You okay? Alright, so then first fret D and G, slide into 2 on D and G with the open A, right? And then hit the open A again. Okay, so you have... Alright, so that whole little verse. Okay, and that'll be the first time around it does that, and then the second time it goes to the chorus, then they kind of extend it, right? So then you have that forget what you're told before we get too old, whatever it is, we just get back into it. So we just slide in from like 4 to 7 on A, and then I'm gonna pop that A major triad 7-7-6 3 times. Forget what we're, and then when you get told, we'll go 5-7-6-5 for that A major triad, right? And then before we get too old, we'll slide back in, do that same progression. And then the too old, we'll go back to that E over G sharp, 4-6-4-5, E, D, G, B. Hammer on to 6 on G from 4. And back to your E over G sharp. And then same thing, right? Okay, so that's the whole chorus, right? So we'll play through it real slow, both parts. You have now, if I remember right, there's some kind of octave thing going on. It might not be there. I just thought I remembered hearing some octaves, like some overdriven kind of octaves at some point when they start getting heavier or whatever. So I'll throw those in here and there. It does it more towards, I think, the end of the song and the beginning. It's kind of like a gradual build into this heavy kind of rock thing, right? So you can just go 2 on A and 4 on the G. That'll be your B octave. And then walk the same shape up 2 frets to that C sharp octave, 4 on A, 6 on G. Okay, and then you just start repeating the verses again, right? And it just starts doing all that, and you repeat the same thing. You know, mess with the phrasing of the vocal melody when you're playing the triads, and then it goes back into the chorus the same way. Chorus is the same every time, and that's everything, right? That's all you need. Is there anything else I did? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it, right? So build the loop. You can lay down 6 different guitar parts. It sounds really cool when it's layered. It's a lot of fun. Definitely keeps you honest. It's a great way to work on your timing, your rhythm, your feel, your touch, everything, right? It's the perfect song to work on this kind of stuff. And then with the vocal melody, moving all these triads around, always finding useful ways to incorporate those things and use them in a practical application. And then just working on the touch with your finger picking when we're having to pop all these triads and move them around. Another great thing to work on. So that's the whole song. It's a beautiful song. It's a lot of fun to play when you play it this way. If you don't have a loop pedal, I highly recommend you get one, because it'll be, that and a drum machine will be like 2 of the best investments you ever make, is having those 2 things around and using them every single day. But that's it, man. I hope you have fun with this. Just practice slow, have fun. I'll see you next time.